Oh shoot. This is so much harder than I remember.
Balsamic, baked balsamic.
Nice. How do I get through this? Let's see what else we should play. boys. Should we get some Mario going? Can't go wrong with a little Mario 3. Mushroom? There it is. Oh, and the feather. How do you grab shells again? A? No, I'm so bad. Who loses on the first level? Get those. No Donald. Are you kidding me? That's how I lose my feather? Okay. Stop doing that. Oh. Oops. Didn't match. Got him. Oh, so close. Retro shit, bro. Before your time. You can hear it, right? By the way. Oh, fuck my life. You can't hear it? Why not? Why can you not hear it? Let me try this. How about now? I'm not sure what I could do. It was hard enough to hook up a freaking Nintendo to my capture card. Wait, what if I add? Now? What can I do? Now? Why? Anything. Let me check something. When I did a test recording, the audio came out though. It's so weird. Check. Audio check. Actually, let me do this. Came out though. It's so weird. Check. Audio check. I really have no idea why it wouldn't be coming through. I have no idea how I'm gonna. Let me see. How do I get rid of this? I don't even know. How do I even remove somebody? Or it's a whole server. I don't know how to remove it. Like, it doesn't show up as a person. I have no idea. I gotta wait till I can find somebody that asks. You found it? Can you do it? Should be disabled now. Okay. Maybe I'll do the tiering video then. Let me shut this off. Oh man, I think I just figured out why that wasn't working. All right. Yo, what's poppin', J Money? Gotta make some. We gotta do a little tiering video. Let's see if Chris wants to make it with me. Alright, let me see if he's ready. Put some music on. What's good, J Money? How are you, man? What do you guys think? What's the top of the top here from the new available mons? Yeah, you go on Kyle. The best thing would probably be to go on Discord and try and find people. Nah, I can't put Xerneas up there. I think to me it's Yevtel. Yevtel, Kyogre. I'm gonna probably say Yevtel, Kyogre. let's say Ghost Rider, but I don't think it's on those two levels. But Ghost Rider, Yveltal, Kyogre probably have at the top. Let me see if he's ready so he can actually do this. He hasn't answered. Yeah, I think for me it's definitely like these are two guaranteed, right? I think these are the two most dangerous mons that bring like the most that didn't exist before. Like there was no Pokemon was able to bring rain and be offensive and be a threat. Like Politoed and Pelipper just don't do that. Yveltal, A, the dark flying, B, the ability boosting dark moves, be able to recover with his signature move. It's just all around just amazing. I mean, those are only two, like, just looking at, like, guarantee is the top tier, and then, like, below that, I mean, Shadow Rider's probably up there, but below that, I mean, Shadow Rider at minimum would be below. Xerneas would definitely be on that level. Definitely Palkia and Dialga for sure. With them, who else do I have on their level? Reshiram. Why do I have two Reshirams? I mean, Groudon's like right there, I'd say. I still don't know how I feel about Eternatus. Yeah, Zacian I'm undecided on. So at the next level, I think you definitely have Mewtwo, Lugia, Caramel White. This could be up 1, 2 for sure. These are obviously terrible. The Crow's not. It's terrible. I don't care what anybody says. It's terrible. People are gonna make cool teams with Zygarde, like that's for sure. Yeah, Dustman is definitely great. The Zamazenta gets coaching, right? Zamazenta Cinderace would be slapping. See, but here's the thing though, with Dustman, like, is it better than Metagross? Yes, but Metagross fills that role. If Metagross fills that role 97% and Dustman fills it 100%, is it worth it using your restricted slot in there? Like, he sets Trick Room, and it's bulkier enough to do it, so like it has a different niche, I guess, but my first gut instinct is telling me this. I think at first gut, without thinking too much, this is what I'm thinking. But I mean, Ghost Rider could go up for sure. I really don't know about Eternatus. Zacian could definitely go up to great. I think I should have made this thing with one more tier, I think. I mean, like, if we put Ghost Rider out just because of how dangerous it is, then, like, Zacian goes up. Yeah, Intimidate too. It's a good point, Casper. Yeah, I think if you're looking at it from like an offensive perspective, Steel, Psychic, Dynamax attacking, like even if you could say Dustman is better, like it's not enough to run it over Metagross. Like if you want that role, that's Metagross's role. Like I think Dustman has a different kind of niche with Trick Room and stuff. I'm pretty sure. Let me add another capture here. Alright, let me fix this up. Let's take a look at some moves real quick. Does Dustman get Snarl? Doesn't get Snarl. See, it's in this like speed tier where I think you could like minus speed it, I think, and like Trick Room and set something else up. Ally switch, of course, if you flow that way. Yeah, like as an attacker, I would just rather have Metagross. If you're gonna use Dustman, I think it comes from more, like even Dragon Dance. Like you could run something and set the policy on Metagross, and like you have the +2 off the bat. I think if you did run this, it would be something like this. Yes, like I don't even know if you run Photon Geyser, the attack is so much better. Maybe something like this, like as your TR setter, but really it's just an awkward Pokemon to use, I think. I think Metagross is just better offensively, and like setting Trick Room with the 77 base speed mon is awkward. I crop too much. Who else are we looking at? Let's look at Zekrom. Zekrom with Tailwind is sick. Bolt Strike must be like a one. You can maybe need Dynamax. I mean, Bolt Strike goes for 130. It's insane. What other coverage we got? And so, oh, it does get flying. Yeah, actually, that makes Zekrom a lot better. I didn't know it got dual wing beat. So I think Zekrom could be better than we have it tiered. I mean, for sure, it's just definitely awesome. I just don't think it's on the level of Kyogre or Yveltal. But Zekrom getting dual wing beat makes me think it could be up here. Let's look at Zamazenta. Did we get does it have like coaching? That would be interesting. It does. Coaching. quick guard or wide guard? It does get wide guard. Something like this could be cool with like next, like, I don't know, Cinderace or something maybe. Because 128, you're outspeeding like just outspeeding Cinderace. So if you get like max speed on both of them, you coach Cinderace and max it, could be super scary. Let's look at Lugia. Lugia is so bulky, like incredibly bulky, also really fast. Could be one of the, like, I don't know what else you could do with it, but it definitely could be one of the premier Tailwind centers, I think. It's so fast and so bulky, like it's getting the Tailwind off. If you got access to something that like procs a policy, it definitely could be like a good support mod, I think. Aeroblast is also sick, like sick, so good. Get to do a wing beat as well. Like Surf, yeah, like something like this. So I think like Tailwind, and you use Surf to like proc a policy on something. Lugia could definitely be pretty cool. Oh, I guess Bulldoze too. Actually, like Lugia and Metagross would be like a sick lead. You see it. You set its policy with Bulldoze, Tailwind off. You have a nice strong stab move, like something like this next to Metagross would be really cool. Let's see, Dust Main. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have it on. Yeah, something like this with Lugia. Like next to Metagross or something where Bulldoze or Surf can proc a policy, and you set Tailwind, and you have a big stab move and Aeroblast. Could definitely be cool. Let's see, let's look at. Where's Dustmane? Oh, we already looked at Dustmane. Right. Oh, I had him. We looked at Zamazenta. They're kind of white. Oh, Kyron White has the crazy 170. So what's cool about this is you can kind of run it like you would a Kartana, and that you need like minimal investment, and it has like Mold Breaker. So like you could do a spread on this thing that absolutely slaps with like such little investment. Like you can go max speed, a little special attack, and then like whatever, tons of bulk too. And this thing still hits really hard. Move pool wise, I think you definitely start with the Ice Beam. This doesn't get the huge, yeah, Fusion Flare, right? Yeah. What's the was it Blue Flare? Is that what I'm thinking of? Who has Blue Flare? Oh, that's Reshiram. And the move pool isn't great on Kyurem, I'll say that. I mean, you have Shadow Ball. I mean, you do have Fusion Flare, which is a huge move when Dynamaxed. Ancient Power doesn't hit that great. So I think that's what holds Chiron White back a little bit, is the move pool. What else? Alright, we can go hit the top ones up. Yeftel. There's so many ways you can run Yeftel, it's actually crazy, I think. Like you could easily run like something like this as a lead, you know, with whoever you want to max, or even something a little slower like a Rillaboom or something, and then if you have this thing alive and you can get your Shifu in for one what's it called, the crit move, Wicked Blow, with this out, it's a nuke. It'll just absolutely nuke something. I think like basing off the Tailwind and the Taunt, like a strong, hyper offensive team. And then you just splash a couple maxers in here. Something like this. Oh yeah, nice. New layouts are good. Yeah, I think like you can use Yeftel this way or totally offensively, like your typical Taunt Tailwind lead mon with Oblivion Wing, who hits hard as a stab, but also is like literally recovering. So it's so good. Like this gives this longevity to stay on the field, to possibly set a second Tailwind, or to possibly be alive when you get like your Shifu in to clean up. And you boost that Wicked Blow. So I think it's probably the optimal way to use it, but you could definitely also max it. Obviously, you know, obviously max Airstream, you know, max Darkness, and then you can go Heat Wave. I don't like Psychic. You can go Heat Wave, you can go Shadow Ball. Definitely a couple ways to use the Yeftel, but I definitely love it as a taunt, Tailwind. For sure. You can lead it with like Fake Out Pressure with like Ensign maybe. Like just to guarantee you kind of get your Tailwind set up. And then you can bring in something like really offensive that could benefit from Tailwind, like a Heatran or Rillaboom, Feeny, these kind of Pokemon. Even like Tyranitar with speed. No, not really team building, I'm just kind of going through just looking at some Pokemon a little closer. Yeah, let me see it. Oh, there's another good one. So goddamn bulky, man. Like a EV set like this or something. And it's really hard to kill this thing. And like having regenerators, like being able to stay out there, take a couple hits, like something comes in, threatens with a rock move, you switch, like you gain HP while you're out. It's really good. I think Ho-Oh is very good. Could even throw something like Earth Power on it that's hitting like rock types or potential things with Rock Slide. Trying to see, it doesn't get. No, okay, so it doesn't get anything to hit grounds. Oh wow, I should get the Life Dew, that's interesting. Could even do like Life Dew, a helping hand kind of shit. No, it's 100% better than singles, for sure. But it still is very, like, the reason it's good is because of what you see on the screen right now. You know, your rock slides that are coming from, you know, T-Tar and Lando, you need to have something else on team to cover it. But these Pokemon you see on the screen, this thing, it walls most of it. It'll wall Shadow Rider, Yveltal, Zacian, Xerneas, whichever one of these is in water. I think Dialga, Reshiram, Rudon, Tornadus. You know, there's very few Pokemon on the screen that could, like, you couldn't really hurt it. Like Zekrom, Kyogre, Palkia. You know, that's why Ho is good. Just because of these Pokemon on the screen, like, if you're really confident in, like, the team you've been using, and you're worried about the restricted mons coming, there's a good chance you could, like, plug Ho on your team and it could really cover a lot of this. No, I mean, listen, it's gonna take more than enough hits for you to deal with it. You know, like if we run some calcs here, like on the spread I just made up off the top of my head. You know, with whatever nature. You know, an Incineroar. Oops, I went to the wrong thing. Like an Incineroar S kind of calc. Kind of EV spread. And, you can look at like the standard Zacian set. Whatever, AG Wallbreaker, I guess. I mean, if it has Wild Charge, which it won't, because Wild Charge kind of sucks. Taking a third from its signature moves. Who else? Please get Dark Reader. Who else we want to look at? Let's look at Shadow Rider. I don't know what Dark Reader is, man. There's no settings to even make it dark, is there? No, not that I see. Let's look at Shadow Rider. It's a Google extension. Does it automatically do it, or? Hey, nice. I'll make this a little bigger. Alright, yeah, but I mean, we look at Shadow Rider. I mean, you're taking hits there. Zacian we looked at. And, you know, this is like without recover, without any drops. You know, you're talking like surviving 2-hit KOs from all these super dangerous mons. Like, I mean, you know, Xerneas. Who else? Look at Reshiram. You know, see, not, you know, barely anything could even 2-hit KO it that we've looked at in all of these restricted mons. Mainly physical, true. I mean, to say, I mean, this is even. So what? Play rough. What were the other moves we were looking at? Whatever. I mean, you know, even the stab play rough, like with the physical set, does not do shit. I mean, we'll look at Dustmane. You know, I mean, Photon Geyser, Earthquake, just say like Iron Head. You know, Metagross, like all your premier, like you need a rock move to deal with this thing. It's gonna wall. But that's why I think Ho-Oh is good. Like if you have an answer to deal with like the Landos of the world, like the whole restricted, all the restricted mons that are coming, Ho-Oh's really good against them all, as far as like taking hits and letting you position. And Sacred Fire, like Sacred Fire, right? You always have that high chance to get a burn. You could have Recover on it, you could have Tailwind on it, you could have Life Dew on it, you could have Helping Hand on it. So I definitely do think Ho-Oh is good. What else we got? Moves wise. Put the Heat Wave on over, get screens. Scorching Sands, Thunder Wave, Will-O-Wisp. I do think Ho-Oh is good. It doesn't get Roost, I don't know why. It did, but I don't see it. All I see is Recover. Special Zacian, is that a thing? It does get Roost, it's just not showing it. Oh yeah, I don't know why I thought it only had Recover. So yeah, that's why I think. Oh, this Dark Read, I can't even see myself type. That is why I think Ho-Oh is solid, for sure. Like if you're playing hyper offense, especially, like you can build a hyper offensive team with like throw Ho-Oh and on it, and you know, like you have something that can come in and take hits and give you speed control or maybe burn something. It's a good mon. Moved into 7. You ready, Chris? I didn't even see. Did you message me? No, you didn't message me. Yeah, Bruce, that's fine, but Stars Recover. But we were just like going over calcs, like saying out all the mons you see on your screen, all the restricted mons, Ho-Oh is so good against like 95% of them. Like there's maybe 3 mons on here. Oh wow. That's super nice. Why do you have the bug on there? Oh, I didn't even know it was a new logo, actually. Super cool, man. That is clean. Looks very clean. Looks very clean, bro. Good work. Who doesn't like Dumpstars? Who does? Alright, let me put these down here as we're going to record. Hello. We're gonna record a video for YouTube. I gotta make it so I can like click on them. Who doesn't like Dunsparce? Mr. Allen, let me know when you are ready. Let me see, I think people are doing... Anybody doing like viewer battles? Oh wait, where's Zach? Is Zach playing in this TCG Invitational? Nobody's doing any Gen 8 shit. It's TCG day. And you actually made it on Streamlabs. Just who have access to Coil. Yeah, once you get good with Streamlabs, it's really not that hard to use. It's cool. I like the neon like look of the box. Nobody's doing any Gen 8 shit. Series 8, I'm sorry. Good to go? Alright. Stretch. Wait, hold on. How am I gonna do this? Because I guess we don't need Showdown. Alright, let me... Where's our DM at? Alright, calling you on Discord, Chris. What's up, buddy? Yeah, I like the neon a lot, actually. Where'd you find the neon from? Like PNG, or do you just have like multiple layers? Search it up, yeah. You hear me, Chris?
Yeah, I got you.
Alright, cool. Are you recording? Are you recording on your end as well, or no? Oh no, I guess you can't. Right?
Yeah, no, I'm not recording on my end.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Yeah, it should be fine. Let me turn this music down. There's some rain on there, Casper. Okay. Okay. Alright, you want to just knock it out?
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright, let me pull this back up so I can see the... Alright.
So, you know, I don't know if, like, if you're watching my screen or could see it, but I have 5 tiers set up.
Yeah, I pulled up your stream. That's
Okay.
why I had it, just so I can see what you're doing with the tier list and whatnot.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out if I want to... Yeah, let me make it a new... Just so if I want to, I could pull up Showdown.
How's your testing been going on Showdown, by the way?
I really haven't... I've built... I mean, the team I'm going to try first, I spent, you know, as soon as they announced the rules, I started building. I haven't really tested yet. I played a couple battles with it. But it's just a really bulky, pivoting, kind of ready for anything team. You know, there's no weakness policy, there's no setups, there's no trick room. It's pretty straightforward, I think.
Yeah, I did a video last night with Gen 1 and Gen 2's restricted, and I think Ho-Oh's. I don't know. I do think Ho-Oh is probably one of the better ones that is going to be slept on quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Just because its support moves and bulk are insane.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were right before you came on here. That's what I was just kind of like going through stuff, and that's what we were just talking about.
I ran oh man, hold on. Let me see if I can look up what the rest of it was. I had Ho-Oh with Helping Hand, Tailwind,
Sacred Fire,
and then Recover. And then I ran it with my, what was it? I'm forgetting which what sets I ran with it. I think I ran that with a Urshifu Dark, and a Sun Core. I think I also had a Sun Trick Room variants on there with Torkoal, Dusclops, Venusaur, and then Blastier. I think that was the set I ran that I liked.
Yeah, I mean, I like Ho. Besides, like, even what it can bring, like, just its defensive typing and its stats, I think are really good against all the other restricted mons. So, like, even if you have like you like your team how it is, before the restricted mon dropped, I think you like Ho is a mon that you can like plug in. All right, let's get this thing done. Are you ready?
Yeah, man.
What's up, everybody? It's Peter VGC. I'm joined here with Chris Allen, another VGC guy, and we're going to be going through the new restricted mons that are entering the format for Series 8. So what's going on, Chris?
Another day, man. Excited to have all these new mons back to play with.
I agree. I'm excited about it as well. So what we have here, guys, is we have 5 tiers. Top, this is going to be the best of the best. Great, good, average, and shit. And even though they're going to be in each different tier, it's not saying that like they're not usable. If you look at these Pokemon, like everything is usable. You can find a niche for just about anything that is coming. It doesn't mean you can't. In my opinion, in our opinion, it's just ranking them against each other, not that if we put something in the average tier, it's average in the format. It's just average against the other restricted Pokemon. So let's just jump right in here. I'm going to start with Zygarde. 4 times weakness to ice. Good all-around bulk. I definitely think there's going to be people that find a cool kind of niche way to make this Pokemon work on like a fun team. What are your thoughts on it, Chris?
I think it's pretty decent. I mean, it has the ability to hit flying types, which is really nice for a ground Pokemon to have. So not only are you getting the ground typing, but you're avoiding one of the immunities as well with it. Decent bulk. That'll probably be a weakness policy concept that a lot of people are going to try and run, just because it is 4 times weak, so it's going to get hit by something. But also in the, Rillaboom is such a monster right now, and that's still at least going to do really good to it. So I think it's like a nice, like, on the average to good for me.
I agree. One thing I think like an interesting topic with Zygarde and the Dragon Ground scheme of things, like how do you think it fares? What are the sort of benefits and like negatives of running it over a Garchomp?
I think mainly the main benefit's just to hit the flying types of ground moves. That's going to be your big way to avoid immunity issues, kind of counter one of those if your team's lacking the ability to hit flying type solid. But I don't think, and he's also a little bit bulkier. You're not getting the residual damage though with Garchomp. I'm trying to remember the moveset. Let me just pull that up real quick on my end.
Yeah, I think for me it's awkward because like, so I mean Garchomp is on the rise in usage. I personally love Garchomp. We saw I believe Joe UX9 maybe hit rank 1 with it, like running it next to Togekiss and Swords Dance. For me, the biggest thing with Zygarde is like these 4 times weak mons you kind of have to max. And I think the best part about Zygarde is 1,000 Arrows, which, unless I'm mistaken, means nothing as Max Quake. Like 1,000 Arrows turned into Dynamax Max Quake can hit a flying mon, as far as I know.
I mean, I believe so. I haven't tested it, but I mean, almost every other move that second effects disappear with the
Right.
max effects because you're swapping out for the special or physical defensive boost. So I assume it's still going to follow the same pattern as everything else. So as a max candidate, if we're comparing it straight up against Garchomp, it's kind of one of those things. Is it worth being your one restricted option in this meta?
Yeah.
Where you have to counter all this other stuff we see here on the list, and that's why I think it's like on that average to good raise. I mean, it has potential, but I just don't know if it's going to outclass the same thing on
Right.
Garchomp.
I agree. I actually, this is one of the Pokemon I expect to have like some people build some crazy teams with, because there are a lot of possibilities with Glare and Substitute and Coil and Dragon Dance. There's like a lot of things you can do with it. It can also be really bulky. So I think people are definitely gonna make interesting things with it. I'm gonna plug it in the average tier for now. Moving on, next we have good old the Gen 3 legend that is Rayquaza. Speaking of 4 times weaknesses.
Yeah, I mean, Rayquaza, I think you're mainly going to see it with the airlock, but with primals and the megas not being around, and I don't know how viable he's going to be this generation. That's one of the few that I'm actually iffy on, because his main usage we saw all in the Sun and Moon and the Ultra Sun and Moon series was if you were running him just to counter the Kyogres and the Groudons of the world.
Right. I agree. And like speaking back to last gen on it too, like the best thing it offered besides controlling the weather was like Swords Dance Extreme Speed was really good last gen. Like you had Dragon Accent, Swords Dance, Extreme Speed on every Rayquaza set. And like after the Swords Dance, like Dragon Ascent was a total bomb, and Extreme Speed did like ungodly amounts of damage with a super high priority move. So to me, between like stopping the weather, Dynamaxing, not really, like it's obviously a lot harder to Swords Dance right now than it was last gen. With Dynamax, to me, he's kind of like Xerneas to me. Still good, but I think this gen and Dynamax in general hurts it a lot.
And I think that's the thing we'll see with a couple of these is just, the changing of the meta in which we're using them now is so different. Having Dynamax and being able to change up what you're normally going to want to play with these guys forces you to not get those Swords Dances off. The 80 damage Extreme Speed isn't going to do much, and then add in a 4 times weakness on your side, you're having to invest into a lot of bulk and lose some firepower as well just to make sure you survive.
Yeah. So up next we have Lunala, one of my favorite shinies, by the way. Just throwing that out there. What do you think about Lunala?
I think Lunala can be an interesting. It has basically what it is. It's basically the same as multi-skill, right? It when full HP, it halves your damage or whatever from an attack. So we could see that with like some weakness policy tech as a possibility early on in the game, just because it's going to run similar to Dragonite. Psychic Ghost typing. I think any duel right now with Ghost is going to be better than this meta format, just because Ghost can hit quite a bit of what we're looking at right here pretty well.
Yeah.
Its move pool. I mean, I remember Dazzling Gleams. I remember Blizzard Tech. Did it get Expanding Force?
I'm not sure here. Wait, I could pull up Showdown. We can check. It's weird with Lunala for me. Like, so my thing is, like, I'm pretty versed in like in Uber tier Smogon, like for singles, and like Lunala plays like incredibly bulky. You see a lot of like recover and toxic stuff. It's a great check to a lot of things. Which obviously in VGC is not the same, so I'm pretty interested on how Lunala people are going to actually use it. It did get Expanding Force. That 100 base Ghost move. I mean, there's definitely some things here that it can run with.
I think, like I said, I think this would be an interesting one we're going to see with the weakness policy, the Shadow Shield, just to proc it up. If it has Expanding Force, it has its Ghost move.
Mm-hmm.
Blizzard, Dazzling Gleam, so it has enough coverage to be decent. And it's like you said, its special attack's extremely high. It's like what, base 137?
Yep.
Yeah, so
I think
it's not horrible.
Yeah, I think it's what's also cool about it is that it does have access to like Will-O-Wisp and Tailwind and all that kind of stuff. So you know, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how people use it. I think there's a couple ways you can use it. I think you can use it offensively, and you could also keep it small and do good things with it. But for now, I'm going to stick it in the average tier. You agree with that?
I agree with average.
Right, up next we have OG Kyurem, the Dragon Ice Legend.
Alright, regular Kyurem.
Is it Kyurem? I know I pronounce everything wrong.
I don't know, so do I.
So we'll call him Kyurem.
My first annoyance with Kyurem, I feel like anything that has pressure in BGC is a wasted ability. So that kind of hurts it. The Dragon Ice typing is really nice. Move pool, I know it gets it has a really good, first of all, it has a really nice split between special and attack. It's the same.
Right.
I think they're both 125 or
130, yeah.
130. I know the HP is pretty much right up there. Bulk, I think, is pretty much spread across with speed is nice and even. So, I mean, we can see this run pretty well. Blizzard was some attack. It had Draco Meteor. You had Dragon Dance. Freeze Dry to hit those water types. Hyper Voice was another spread move you could run. If you're going on the physical side, you get Iron Head. It also gets screen, so it could be another screen. You know, throw up a screen in front of it while you have something else out. I don't know. I have it kind of like right there, a little bit above Rayquaza, but I'm not sure if it's how it's gonna move up or down.
Yeah.
Compared to the rest of the stuff.
I mean, I think like not having the 4 times weakness and having the good all around stats, like it's good. But however, like I think it's just outclassed with some stuff. Like, you know, I mean, we have Pokemon here we're talking about with like 680 total base points, and this is like around 510. But I mean, it's just kind of outclassed by some things. However, I mean, it's still Dragon Ice, which is super cool, good typing. And for now, I'll put it next to Rayquaza, and you know, we'll see. I'm sure we'll see how the meta plays out with it.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I think it's good with that good stuff. So yeah, it's fine and good for now.
Yeah. Up next, we have Giratina. Giratina.
Giratina.
Okay.
Well, the comment section is gonna be wild.
Yeah, I think it is. I think Giratina is a super cool Pokemon. I like using it. I don't know if you play like random battles on Showdown, but I like get it all the time. It's just so unbelievably bulky. Base stats. I'll say first, like I don't think giving it the item to change its form is something that is like necessarily worth it. And I think there's a couple good ways to use Giratina. To me, these base stats are like screaming for like a weakness policy. Like it's incredible bulk and it's a decent speed. But it's just that 100 attack and special attack. Like this is the kind of mon I think like next to maybe like a Tornadus with Brutal Swing and Tailwind. If you set it off with a policy, it's going to be so hard to kill. It's going to hit hard, and if you get it under Tailwind, it's moving quick too.
And it has telepathy as well, so you can have it kind of paired in the back next to your, you know, Earthquake Spammer. Running it with Lando, you can run it with a quick 1-2 punch using Mind Blown Clown just to put a lot of damage off. I like telepathy. I think telepathy is a really solid ability.
Absolutely. When I started when I was first looking at Team on Use first, I knew I was going to go with like Palkia or Dialga, and telepathy was the few practice things I did run. Like telepathy was great to have, like you know, with Lando and just kind of hitting those earthquakes. The weird with Giratina is it's you know more, you know, Will-O-Wisp, Tailwinds. Like a lot of these Pokemon you can use multiple ways. Like they don't have to just be your featured attacker.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're gonna run it with Will-O-Wisp, it also gets Hex too, so you
Hmm.
can sit there burn things. Now you're gonna use Hex, take your stab, space 65, and you're gonna double your power because you burned the Pokemon. So you could run this thing quite a bit of
Yeah,
different ways.
it's a tough one for me to tier too. With all these other Pokemon, it's really hard for me to put this next to Karma Rayquaza with base 100s attack and a 90 speed, and like yeah, like the Will-O-Wisp and the Hex stuff and Tail and stuff, like all that stuff is good, but there's other Pokemon that can provide that to you as well. I think it's tough to tier. Like I want to put it in average next to Zygarde and Lunala, but like I could see this being a feature on a team for sure and getting you a bunch of wins. Like the potential is definitely there. You have base attacks of 100 and base speed of 90. I can't put you next to Rayquaza or Kyurem.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things that it's on a border. It can easily fall up or down. Um, my only argument with it looking is okay. If we look at some stuff here, Yveltal is a thing, and that is going to wreck it. Uh, Spectre, Shadow Rider. So there's a lot of stuff that we still haven't even looked at yet that has the ability to just put a lot of damage into this thing and really. So it's a tricky thing because you're only allowed one this time. It's not like we have two. We can build with them. It's one Pokemon. So that one Pokemon to me, it has to be something that can carry you in so many functions.
It's almost like it's adding a resource to VGC. Like at this point, you almost have to consider your restricted mon like a resource, like a stock. Like you have to get value from it. It can't just be another slot or something, like because there's going to be people out there that are a lot of people that are going to be building their team around their restricted mon. It's really something you have to consider. Up next, I think is going to be maybe a little controversy between us because I have like a lot of opinions. I think on Mr. Calyrex Ice Rider on the back of Glacier. We'll start with you, and I'll chime in after. What are your thoughts?
Calyrex Ice Rider. I actually did look at this thing quite a bit. Decent move pool. It has the. First of all, let's start with the stat spread here. 165 attack, 150 defense, 130 special defense, 100 HP. So, first of all, extremely bulky, which I love. Like, I'd rather you don't need the special attack to be even with your attack, because I don't want to run you as a special attacker. Pick a stat, let's go, get some more bulk. So the bulk on it, I think, is going to be very important, especially going into Series 8 early on. It's going to have close combat, it's going to get, and if you do run, it gets Glacial Lance, which hits both Pokemon. It's 130, 100% accurate move, which is insane. And Ice has honestly become like number 4 on my team building. When I build, it's like I have to have an ice type, right? Just because all the Landos, the Thundurus, the Birds. So I think the ice typing got a huge boost, because if we remember the first 6 series, it's Fairy and Steel. Like you're talking those two. And I think with all these birds coming in, and now with a lot more of these guys and the dragons, and I think Ice really did get a boost. So I think I'd put it in great. I mean, it's not top tier to me, just because I think that base Glacier, while not being restricted, still does better. But I definitely think it can carry its own weight.
Right. So my thoughts on it are this. With the little bit of extra bulk they gave it over Glacier, the extra ability, the move, they gave it this really shit speed tier set in 50. So to me, like, I'm thinking of how I'm like playing this out. So obviously you're playing this in Trick Room, but like I'm thinking about going up against a team that has a Trick Room element, like we've seen with Glacier and Dusclops and whoever, and also has a speed element. And I'm trying to play in their Trick Room with Calyrex riding Glacier, and Glacier is just going to win the 1v1 because of the speed tier. So for me, I feel like this thing needs to run like an Iron Ball, which can underspeed, min speed Glacier. The speed tier is awkward to me. The one thing I will say, and I think if you're going to run this over Glacier, because to me, like, Glacier is so incredibly bulky, like, 145 versus 165 attack. I mean, 150 and 130 defenses versus 130 and 110, 100 and 100 HP. Like, to me, the stats are very comparable. where I'm gonna run this thing, like the benefit behind it is I don't need Dusclops. Like it's setting its own trick room, I think is really cool because you can do something like lead in DD and an Ice Rider and set your own trick room and just follow me and then attack that way, kind of the way you would with Hatterene, which is cool because it cuts out that element, it cuts out that P2 or that Dusclops that you would normally need on the team. Yeah, the 50 base stat is very awkward to me. Like, you know, you're basically losing against every other TR mon. But that being said, I think you can run an Iron Ball, and have redirection with it. Like, you can never have like Indeedee and Glacier before because you needed Trick Room. So like you can't spend 2 mons trying to set up Glacier. The fact that you can run this thing with some redirection is really cool and definitely scary.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and it's like I said, its move pool's not horrible. You have it also gets Mega Horn and Outrage too. So what was the other? It gets close combat, superpower, throw chop. That's why I said I think it's great to me just because there is ways. Losing the item, I think, is a fair compromise because you're also picking up the second ability, so it kind of evens out. Which I think was really good for them on this speed tier, making it like this.
Oh, I got your camera frozen, Chris. I'm gonna resend this call real quick. Okay, got you. Go ahead.
All right. But yeah, so because it's base 50, I think that was a fair. I think they should have made last year base 50 or so as well, just because we saw how destructive it was. So I think it's great. I think there is a lot of tech to run with it, but it isn't top tier because it does require a couple things.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I think settings on Trick Room really open stuff up. Like, you know, I mean, think of like a team. Let's just say, you know, Ice Rider, Indeedee, Hatterene, or Torkoal, or something, where you can kind of come in, follow me, set your Trick Room. If you get even 1 or 2 Glacial Lances off, you punch a bunch of holes, and then you still have your Trick Room Dynamax attacker. I think it's definitely scary, for sure, and I'm good with it in great tier. All right, up next we have, oh boy, speak of pronunciation, Zamazenta.
Is it Zama or Zama? Zama?
You know what, I'm gonna be wrong either way and get killed in the comments, but as long as you guys understand what I'm talking about.
It's okay. You'll see the mon that we're talking about.
Exactly. It's a weird Pokemon. I was actually looking at it and like toying with it. The fact that it gets like coaching is super cool. I was thinking like, you know, run this out there and like coach up your Cinderace or something. It is really cool. I mean, it's obviously outclassed by Zacian. It's tough for me. It's tough for me to really consider to make any valid argument where I'm going to run this over any of these other restricted Pokemon. But I think it's not good. Like I talked about earlier, like just because something's in a lower tier doesn't mean it's not good and can't work. I mean, how are you running this over Zacian, Kyogre, like Xerneas? It's very tough to do for me.
Its move pool is also not like wonderful. Wow. I mean,
yeah.
Close combat, right? That's cool. Almost everything has that. I guess it has Crunch, which is cool to hit the ghost types. You know, it has the Fang moves, gets Iron Head.
It's limited for sure, and like, you know.
And that's it, yeah. And then the best way to run it would probably be coaching. So if you're gonna run, you know, it gets coaching, it gets helping hand. Snarl. I mean, its support moveset's nice, but with one restriction, is it worth that support slot when you can just go to Spectier and run your Snarls?
Yeah.
Or you can run a helping hand, follow me in DD, or, you know, whatever, Togekiss or whatever, and not use your restricted. So,
yeah, for me, I'm just putting it in shit tier. Does not mean it's a shit Pokemon. It does not mean you can't have this on your team and it cannot be good. To me, it is like heavily outclassed by almost every other Pokemon we're tiering. I mean, we're talking about Lunala and Giratina. You can do so much more than them than you can with Mr. Shield Brother over here. So for me, it's going down in the shit tier. Again, doesn't mean it can't work. I just don't love it.
I'm fine with that. I mean, odds are, looking at that move pool, I don't think I'd ever run it.
Yeah. Speaking of shit tier, let's talk about Calyrex. This mon is garbage. This mon is so bad. I couldn't even... This thing in our singles draft league was like in tier 3 or 4. And I actually had like a random pick left where Pokemon wasn't gonna... Let's just put it this way. I took Lipard over this thing. Like, I just... It's just not good. I don't like it. Yeah, I feel like they did it super dirty.
80 across the board, 100.
Yeah.
This is just a piece to make the rider forms, honestly. It's
Mhm.
not... Yeah. Ugh.
I still, like, for the lore even around it, like... Just in general, I just feel like they did this mon dirty. Like, it's trash. It's not good in any format. It's just not good.
Yeah, I think that goes down there next to Zom, because...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, let's talk about Zekrom.
Alright. Base form?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Dragon Electric, typing-wise, I love in this meta. I mean, we're looking at a couple of the other things, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's hitting like 11 or 12 of these guys with stab, first of all. So just off typing, it's not bad. I mean, its attack is 150. HP isn't horrible at 100. With that attack, what's really nice when you have a really great solid attack stat, you actually don't have to max out your attack stat, which lets you be a little bit more flexible with your bulk side. And on the bulk, 120, physical, 100, speed at 90. So this will be something that could run next to a Tailwind very effectively. And it ignores effects and the abilities of other Pokemon, so you're not gonna... So this could actually protect in front of Urshifu then, right?
Yes, protect from the Urshifu. It can max Quake Rotom. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's a really good ability on it. I mean, it's better than Pressure, like on half these guys. So I think he's gonna be... He's above Rayquaza for sure, but I don't know if he's kind of on that line. He could fall an average, or he could be, a great tier, but he's definitely not top tier, I don't think yet.
Yeah, I actually like Zekrom a lot. I think a couple things. First, like, you got dual wing beat, so you have max airstream. Like, Bolt Strike is a 130 base power move. Super strong on its own. Super strong when it can max. Good move pool. There's a lot to like on it, and that, like you're talking about, that base 150. You can really come out with a nice EV spread, especially if you're using Tailwinds and, like, run some calcs where you're faster than, pick your Pokemon in Tailwinds. It leaves a lot of EVs to go into that already good natural bulk. And I love its moveset. And the fact that it gets max airstream really makes me love it for Dynamaxing. I think this is a very usable restricted mon that you can build a team around for sure. I like it much better than like a Rayquaza or a Kyurem or Giratina or any of those. It's not set in stone, but I'm definitely going to put it up in great tier next to Ice Rider right now.
Yeah, I like that.
Alright, up next we have Solgaleo, another one of awesome shinies. Super cool. This Pokemon is really scary, I think.
Yeah. Well, I love the typing. It keeps that Steel type, which we've seen this generation is very valuable. And I think Steel is a very important type to have on your squad. As far as its spread, you're talking 137 HP and attack, so it's going to have some bulk. Special defense is a little lagging on. Speed, a little bit faster than Zekrom, and its physical defense isn't horrible, 107. Did it get anything new this generation?
I mean, it got E-Force, which obviously is not something you would run. Steel Roller, which could always be some kind of techie stuff.
I mean, I think, oh yeah, Steel Roller for sure. Because if this
Mhm.
is a max candidate for you, I think Steel Roller's A is really good because it's just going to turn the Steel Spike, so that's fine.
Right.
But also, I think Terrain is just going to be everywhere. Like you said, there's a lot of stuff here that Ndidi could be next to, so you can just Steel Roller and get rid of the Terrain and have control yourself. And it's a base 130 move, so that's
Yeah.
always wonderful. Gets close combat, another base 120. You could run earthquake stuff with it. You have crunch to hit ghost types. You have a lot of fire coverage to hit all these glaciers and ice horses and knockoff
Yeah.
Ironhead, Morning Sun for healing, which I think is the most important move on this thing.
For sure. It's really scary. I mean, it's definitely a great Pokemon. Like, I think if this was like too restricted mon format, like we've had some experience with, like to me, Solgaleo is like it's a steal. It's just so good. My thing with it in like a one restricted mon format like we're having is like, all right, is Solgaleo better than Metagross? 100%. Is it that much better than Metagross that you want to use your restricted slot? It's up for debate. Like, I could see you making a case for it. Yeah, it is. But you know, I mean, one thing we talked about earlier is you know, what makes like Metagross really shine right now is clear body. Oh, he does it. Full Metal does drop it. Okay, so it really is just on par with Metagross. Like, it's better. I don't know how much better. I don't know if it's worth using your restricted your slot for, but you know, I certainly wouldn't be like, oh, I can't believe that guy's using Solgaleo. It's definitely a great Pokemon.
Yeah, I think this falls in that, and that's the thing with a lot of these, right? Is a lot of these I think are on the lines, and they have time to really kind of, you know, because we've never, like, I've seen a lot of these used in a VG format. You have too, but we've never seen it with Dynamax, so it's a lot different as far as how the techs are going to work, how it's going to fit in the field. But I think this is above Rayquaza. I think I think good tier is kind of fine for it right now, and I think it could go up or down.
Yeah, I agree. I like it better than Lunala. I like it better than Rayquaza and Kieran. Excuse me for my girlfriend in the background. I like it better than Kieran for sure, and Rayquaza, but it's definitely not, to me, like a great level. As far as how we're tiering it, it's not on the level of Zekrom or Ice Rider.
Yeah, no, not with the one restricted, yeah.
So, up next, honestly, out of every single Pokemon that's coming, there's none I am more interested to see how it gets used than Eternatus. None. So, like, in Uber singles format, this thing is a total special wall. You, like, cannot, like, a lot of Uber's teams, like, you start with Dustmane, Necrozma, and this thing, and, like, you have a mon that takes any physical hit, and this thing that can take any special hit. Super cool typing. And, like, when, like, my first reaction to it is, like, it's not that great. Like, you look at the base stats, and you're like, I mean, they almost blow you away.
130 speed, 145 special attack, 140 HP, 95 on defensive splits.
It's like, you know, it's super scary. Like, 140 HP is like insanely high, and you complement that with like 95s in the defenses. But then behind that, you have a 130 speed, 145 special attack. Like, this thing is terrifying.
I think this would be a really nice assault vest candidate for a team.
Absolutely.
You know, it has even more special bulk. Now you can kind of play with your spread a little bit more. It gets the Dynamax cannon does 200 base power, 100% accurate against that's 200 base power not counting your stab.
Yep.
So that's just an insane. And to be honest, if you can get, and I think that's where this and Zacian kind of both feel, is it's a mon that you're not maxing out of these, so now you can still build with potential to max 3 other things every time you go into a gameplay, where a good amount of these mons, you know, you see it and it's like, okay, that's probably the max candidate, that's probably who they're building the team around. But with stuff like this, it's mainly just to come in and I'm going to destroy your max, you're not going to get to use it, and I'm going to have 3 turns to just absolutely run the game.
Yeah, I really don't know. Like, I think there's a that's the thing. Like, you're not gonna max it, so like Dynamax Cannon, but like you have to kind of position the board right to get Dynamax Cannon to go off. It's really, I'm really, like I said, just very interested to see this thing get used and what people are gonna come up with and how they're gonna build around it.
Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave.
I was looking at like an AV set of Dynamax Cannon, like Flash Cannon, Flamethrower, Sludge Bomb. Like that's Dragon, Steel, Fire, Poison. Like that's, very good coverage.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, you could even drop. I just threw one together with an AB too, but you could even drop the Steel move for Flamethrower just to have that fire coverage for a lot of these ice types, and So I think it's a very nice option here. I mean, its move pool, while it is a small move pool, it doesn't need to be any bigger than what it is.
Yeah. I think it's really good. I'm also like just very interested. Like I could see this being ran like protect, recover, like max HP, spit def kind of stuff. I could see AV, max special attack, timid, modest. Like there's a lot of ways that I think you can fit this on a team, and I'm very excited to see how it gets used. Like, there's no way this is below great tier. I don't have anything in the top tier yet, but like if I'm looking at it, is it significantly better? Does it bring me something like Ice Rider and Zekrom? I don't think it does, but it definitely has the potential to change.
I think it's on the line. It also does get access to Meteor Beam too. So like you could run Power Herb, Meteor Beam set, boost your special attack,
Right.
and just absolutely just wreck stuff. So I think it's like great tier, but it's definitely able to jump up the top tier depending on how the meta really does shake out.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely could just be top tier too. Like the only reason I have it in great tier is I'm just hesitant to see how to use it. Like it's, I mean, we covered. I mean, like you just said too, like a power herb set. There's a lot of ways you could make this thing work for sure. Right, up next we have original, plain old, Jane old, shitty Necrozma.
Not a fan, huh?
And I can't even use this thing. I had this thing and again, I'm talking about singles, but I've used this thing in singles. Just don't love it. Like, it's cool, like, in singles, because you have, like, a lot of, like, you have, like, Calm Minds. There's all different boost moves it gets. It's a tough sell for me. Like, there's plenty of unrestricted mons in VGC that I'm using before I use this. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think, especially in a one format, I think he's got to go to that bottom tier.
Yeah. And for me, it's not even like, if we compare it against the other restricted mons, it's still bad. But like to me, there's not restricted mons that I'm using before this. Like, if we could use any of these, if we could use 5, like I'm still just not using it. But however, let's talk about Duskmane Necrozma.
I think, to be honest with you, Duskmane is one that I instantly think is probably going to be a top tier mon. Just because it has a very nice speed tier at 77, so it can function both in and out of Trick Room, right? So it covers the meta very well as far as positioning. 157 attack, 127 defense, 109 special defense. It still maintains access to Morning Sun after the max is over with. You come back in and you heal all the chip damage that people did to you. You could also run Dragon Dance Tech with some Follow Me. It does get Earthquake. It does get Facade. So even if, as extra tech, if someone tries to throw a burn on you, you just Facade anyway and get your damage off. It gets Knock Off to hit a lot of the ghost types. It gets Photon Geyser to hit, and that hits on the attack side if your attack's better than special attack. So it's a special move that you could still use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a few thoughts on this mon. I mean, first of all, the ability is super cool. So like, Psychic Seal is great defensive typing, and like then on top of that, those few Pokemon out there that can hit you for 2 times. it gets decreased. Is it 3/4 overall? Receives 3/4 damage. Yeah, it takes 75% damage from any super effective attack. But like, we are also live streaming while we're doing this, guys, and like Casper just said in chat, Intimidate. I think even if this thing had clear body, and I look at it, kind of going back to how we talked about Soldier Leo and Steel Psychic in general, I mean, this is kind of Metagross's fault, but yes, they're both better than Metagross, but like not by that much. And at least Soldier Leo is resisting Intimidate. Like being able to intimidate this thing alone, like makes me even consider to run Metagross over it. Period. Let alone as a one restricted slot. Like I do think it's very good. It is going to be very hard to kill for sure. So I think, you know, it's just weird. Like the 77 can work in and out, but it's weird. Like for this mon to be a Trick Room setter to me, it just kind of feels weird. But it does get access to Trick Room, so I think it's a little awkward for Trick Room. Like it's a little awkward to max when it can be getting intimidated, and you have Soldier Leo and Metagross who can't. So it's kind of tough for me to really get crazy about this mon in BGC.
All right, we have our first one. I'm surprised it took this long for us to have like a difference.
Yeah.
I do understand though where y'all come from with the Intimidate. I didn't even really consider that because it is a lot bigger this meta than it has been. Yeah,
for sure. And like in the first team I threw together, quick, like I do have a dual Intimidate. Like I have Lando and Ensign on the team. Ensign was already high in usage, and I think it's only going higher. If you had to ask me, like because of things like Shadow Rider out there. You know, so on top of the just in general Intimidate getting better from these mons coming, like everybody's going to be like, I think first glance you look at the Pokemon coming and Shadow Rider is probably number one that you're most scared of. It's like the few people that aren't running Incineroar are going to be running it. It's tough for me to really go crazy about it. You know, after one Intimidate, Metagross is just better, I think.
Yeah. So put it. I'm fine with it going next to Rayquaza for now.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that. Like, it does have its like kind of niche. Like the fact that it does have Trick Room again, how kind of I was talking about with Ice Rider is very cool. So I'm not saying you can't use it, but and again, this is mainly Metagross's fault for being too goddamn good. But a Psychic Steel, I'm going to compare you to a different Psychic Steel type. That's just how it's going to go. So if you can get it intimidated and the other one can't, it's a tough sell for me. Alright, and we'll round out the Necrozma forms here with Dawnwings. Pokemon I have like little to zero experience with. So I don't have much of an opinion here.
It's gonna fall kind of by. This one's gonna probably fall by Rayquaza. It might even fall to average, to be honest with you, because like its stat line, it has an insane special attack, 109 defense, 127 special defense, 97 HP. So the bulk isn't horrible. It's not great, you know. Psychic Ghost typing, but the problem I think with the Ghost typing right now is your Ghost side has to be really. You have to be really strong because of the other Ghost types on this list. Like even just Spectre, who's non-restricted. I think that's the biggest issue with that is Spectre is going to be on almost every team now still, and because it works so well as a support set, you know, it gets access to Snarl to cripple special attackers. It can wisp all these physical guys, and it can also just almost one-shot this Necrozma. It does have the same ability with the 75% damage from attacks, and its move pool on the special side. You do get Dark Pulse, you do get Dragon Pulse, you get Expanding Force now, you get the Heat Waves, the Flash Cannons. But I just don't love the Psychic Ghost typing in this meta.
Yeah, I agree. Psychic Ghost typing is not good typing. You know, I think like where this thing could have its place would be as like a glass cannon. Like, you know, we talk about I forgot who did you just talk. Oh, you talked about it with Zekrom. Like you talk about it with Kartana and other mons that have that 150 plus attack where you don't need a lot of investment. I feel like this is like a Pokemon where you could go like 252 timid with this thing and have it be a glass cannon even with its 4 times weakness. But then that speed comes in. So to me, this is a tough. This is a tough use. I wouldn't be one to use this thing. To me, like it's kind of on that level where I think it can work. Like Giratina or Lunala can work. But I'm running Soldier Leo and Dustmane and Rayquaza before I end this thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the typing just hurts it too much for me to put this on my team.
Yeah. Oh boy. Up next, let's just get let's get Cosmog out of the way and just throw him right into shit tier and not even talk about him. Because do you ever think they're gonna give him more moves? Like I think they literally have like 4 moves and none of them attack. Like you think that's in the plan, like a plan for the future with this thing or no?
I mean, I think they're gonna bust up Cosmog here soon. They're gonna give it because it only has teleport and splash right now. They'll
Yeah,
give it
it's
ally switch because everything gets ally switch.
it's like literally it's literally not usable though. Like I don't, it's crazy.
Yeah, just throw both of them in the
Yeah.
tier
Well,
and call it a day.
I'll go for 2 for 1s here. Up next, a Pokemon I know we both have lots to talk about and we both like, and that's Ho-Oh.
I'd put Ho-Oh in top. I
Mhm.
mean, Fire Flying is a very nice dual type to me. This meta, it covers, like I said, Ice and Steel and Fairy, the 3 biggest ones that you're seeing as far as overall types on every single team. And then Rillaboom too with the grass typing. And guess what? He hits Steel, he hits the Ice, he hits the grass. So he's covering 3 of the things that I'm seeing on every single squad, which means A, he can check the meta very well. The bulk is insane. The move pool's really nice. Life Dew for healing,
Mhm.
or not Life Dew. I'm sorry. Roost to heal himself up. Recover to heal himself up. You have Sacred Fire with a burn chance to cripple physical attackers while still putting damage out. You can run Helping Hand on it. It offers a lot, and it also does have regenerators. So if you do end up pivoting out, you can pivot out to bring it back in late game and just have that bulk to just survive.
Yeah, I love Ho-Oh. Also, the Tailwind setter, like you talked about, like super bulky. But I think what makes Ho-Oh shine is just looking at the screen and all the restricted mons right now. It could really handle and hit super effective if it want to, but it could really handle hits from a lot of these Pokemon. Everything you talked about, I think it's great. Super good. I love it. I think if you also are very overwhelmed and like don't really know how to go about building for Series 8, Ho-Oh's so safe. Like you throw a bulk spread and like Tailwind, Sacred Fire, whatever else you want. It's just like a really safe pick where you can kind of like you had a lot of success in Series 7. You can kind of keep that Series 7 core and plug Ho-Oh in on your team, and I think it makes your team legit. It's a very safe play. To me, though, the 4 times rock weakness like just exists, and because of that, I have it. I think it's in great tier and not top. Uh,
Okay.
but listen, like I said, I think this is one of the safest picks that you can build your team around, like no doubt. But it does have a couple limitations for sure. I mean, we're gonna talk about 130 attack like it's bad. It's not, but in the grand scheme of restricted mons, it's not great. The 90 base speed isn't great. The 4 times isn't great, but it is still a phenomenal Pokemon. Set I was thinking of was like Wakanberry, Helping Hand, Sacred Fire, Tailwind. Insert your last move. Does it get taunt? I'm just curious. It doesn't. But yeah, I love Ho-Oh. I like if I'm building teams. I use the restricted mon I wanted to build with and use first. But I think Ho-Oh will probably be next on the list because I do think it's that good. I think there's a little something that holds it back from a couple of the top tier mons that we're going to talk about shortly.
Oh, it does get Life Dew actually.
It does, yeah. I was going to say when you're talking. Alright, up next we have finally a reason to not see Torkoal everywhere, although we still will, but it is a reason not to. It's definitely a lot better than Ninetales, and that's Groudon. Where do you stand on Groudon?
Oh, man. Well, you brought up what we're comparing. The first things I have to look at when I'm comparing, one restricted meta which is Torkoal and Ninetales, right? Ninetales, so much better, right? Torkoal, I don't think so. I mean, Rillaboom is still super prevalent in the meta,
Hmm.
and I did a test battle. I saw a lot of Groudon, so I just ran a Choice Band Rillaboom set, and I pretty much one-shot a lot of the Groudons. I think there was only one Groudon that actually lived in my Choice Band Grassy Glide,
Right.
and it's just in this meta format, I think Torkoal serves you better because the other common thing with a lot of Sun teams is a lot of Sun teams, you know, you're going to run your Sun Sweeper, you're going to run Torkoal. You might have a Trick Room kind of mixed into your set. You see a lot of Sun Room teams. So losing Torkoal, who in Trick Room is slow enough to erupt in front of Glacier and just get off mad damage and cover those Ice type Pokemon, for Groudon, who's just going to get Max Quake and gone.
Yep.
It just doesn't compare well with me.
I'll say this, like, I think, yes, if I'm comparing, like, to which is better, I still think Torkoal's better, your best Pokemon to set the sun with. However, you don't have to do that, because Torkoal, when you build a Sun Core around Torkoal, you kind of automatically build in that Trick Room team, which is why Sun Room's one of the most popular things. I think Groudon is good enough and strong enough where you can now utilize a Sun team without Trick Room, which kind of opens up some options. Because Torkoal and Venusaur and Torkoal, Venusaur, Charizard, none of those Pokemon set Trick Room. So you're adding that other element, that fourth Mon, to build that kind of Sun Room team for Torkoal. So it's kind of automatic. Like, it's not like you can go Torkoal, Venusaur, and just run away. Usually you build in that Trick Room team. So I think Groudon does open things up, where now you can have Groudon, Venusaur, and then 4 other Mons kind of independently that just balance out the team. I think it does provide a different element to Sun. But I mean, all in all, like, I still do think Torkoal is the best Sun setter.
Yeah, I'm looking through his move pool too, just to make sure.
Like, Precipice Blaze is an awesome move too, like, for sure. Definitely an awesome move. Like, to me, it's I'm definitely using it. Like, I could definitely build a Sun team with this before I'm going to build a team around Zygarde or Lunala, so I think it goes into good tier. But I still think Torkoal takes a cake percent in the Sun. However, there is a it'd be cool to see different Sun teams. We always see the same Sun teams. It'll be cool to see, like, Groudon, Venusaur, Charizard, like your Shifu, Regieleki, like, really kind of opens up the Sun archetype.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I definitely think good tier is. I think that's kind of the spot for him because, like you said, with what you're doing with Sun, is he the best in the format? With Sun, no. Primal form, it changed it a little bit, but I'd still run it over Giratina.
Yeah. All right. Up next, one of my probably 3 favorite Pokemon out of all of these is Reshiram.
Really?
I love Reshiram. Well, let me rephrase. I don't mean like love. Like, I think it's one of the 3 best. I mean, like, just personal. Like, I love the Pokemon Reshiram.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't mean like it's one of the 3 best here. It's always been one of my, just kind of like, Arcanine is to me. I just love Reshiram.
All right. Well, I'll let you go first then.
All right. So I think a few things with Reshiram. I love it. I think it's totally viable. It could be the first Mon on your team, and you can say, okay, I'm going to build a team around this Mon. I think you can 100% do that. Let me just open Showdown here real quick. Okay. So yeah, if we go in and look at it, Turbo Blaze again, basically Mold Breaker, super cool. Access to Earth Power, and that does count with your Dynamax. So you are able to Max Quake Rotoms. You are able to also protect on your Shifus. Stats 150. We've talked about this a few times now. 150 base special attack. To me, like, for an offensive Mon, like 140, 150 is like the threshold where you can now run this thing timid with a ton of HP, defense, and SPDF with a little bit of special attack. It doesn't need a lot. It's very natural bulky. Like, anytime you have HP, defense, and SPDF, and all 3 numbers are in 3 digits, like, that's really good natural bulk. 90 base speed for this Pokemon is, more than enough, I think. Big moves, big 100 plus base power moves. I really do. I mean, also, Dragon Fire is very cool. Typing, cool stabs. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think, I'm not saying, I don't think it's a lot better than the Pokemon that we have in the top tier. Like, it's not better than Zekrom for sure, but I think it is a great Pokemon, for sure. I love Turbo Blaze too. I think Turbo Blaze is really cool. The only thing that is disappointing is there is no special flying attack. So it gets physical, but it doesn't get a special flying attack where you can max Airstream, which is the one thing, for me, that's the one thing that's holding it back from the top of the top here.
I agree. I just looked through, Blue Flare, Earth Power, Shadow Ball, Solar Beam, just to name a couple, solid coverage options that are going to hit really well. Also gets Weather Ball if you want to run it in, and all. I mean, but that's the other aspect too, though. It might not get the Airstream, but it does get, max strike, so you can at least lower the opposing speed too, the counter it on the special side.
For sure.
So, yeah, I don't know. Where'd we put? What we put?
For me, in great tier right now, we have Ice Rider, Zekrom, Eternatus, and Ho-Oh. Below that, in good tier, we have Rayquaza, Kyurem, Solgaleo, Dustmane, and Groudon. To me, this slides into great tier, again, with a special flying move away from being in top tier.
Yeah, it's definitely better than what's in good tier. Yeah, it's like mid, a great tier.
Okay. Casper saying in chat that you don't think it can protect on your Shifu. Honestly, I'm positive it is. I mean, ignoring, it literally reads that it ignores ability. The reason your Shifu hits to protect is its ability. So, I mean, unless somebody shows me something else or test it, there's no reason for me to think that it can't protect on your Shifu.
I mean, I'll test it right now if you want, Peter.
Yeah, you start doing it. I'll start talking about the. Oh yeah, we can test it real quick ourselves.
You grab the Mon, I'll grab a 1v1 Urshifu real quick just to see.
Okay. I mean, I can't think of any reason why it wouldn't. I mean, when it literally reads that,
Yeah, I mean, to me, I would assume. Let's just throw on one attack move. I'm gonna throw on a Scarf just to hit, and.
All right, I'm validating it for anything goes. I don't feel like it still gives me a bunch of shit. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I have it validated and anything goes.
Anything goes, validate, perfect. Alright.
Which one I'm logged in under here? Or what's your username?
KRISALLEN96.
It's not letting me. I'm like clicking challenge and it won't let me challenge you. Am I not? Oh, I'm not. I'm not connected. Hold on. Really? Yes.
Behind on the chat. 2 quad weaknesses. Casper is the other guy.
Okay, here comes the challenge.
Don't kill Teal. What's up, Don't Kill Teal? Yeah, I am in the VGC Draft League for the group with Peter. And I've been playing, competitive VGC for a while. So. Urshifu. Wicked Blow.
This update, I don't like this update.
Protect.
Wow.
Okay. Dang, that's unfortunate. What? I don't get why though.
Me neither. I'm wondering if it's
updated correctly.
Because obviously these new mons I couldn't have had interact with your Shifu yet. I can't think of why it wouldn't.
I would assume. I don't know. We'll have to test it on cart, I guess, and just see if it works on cart.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. I still don't know if I believe it. I just don't know why it ignores the effects of the abilities. Very weird. Maybe the only thing I think of is maybe just like because of the interactions, like they haven't had a chance to yet. Like your Shifu's never been in interaction with Turbo Blaze, so maybe just Showdown doesn't have that filed in yet.
I think that's probably what it is. That's why I said we'd have to probably test it on cart to get an accurate knowledge of it right now. But
yeah. All right, let's move on here to the Ghost Rider himself, Mr. Calyrex Ghost Rider.
Calyrex Ghost Rider. Let me pull it back up here.
This mod is so scary. Like everything about me like resists it because of the 4 times and because Cinderace is gonna be #1 in usage, but I mean it could just steal games. Like it can max, it can not max. Like this thing is so fast and so powerful that you can bring this like in the back just to clean up. Like, kind of how you would in like a Rillaboom or your Shifu roll. It's very scary.
I mean, it plus speed nature, max speed. You're talking what? It's hitting 438. Wow.
Like you're talking like ignoring like Venusaur in the sun almost. I think
most Venusaurs, because a lot of people like to have some type of bolt on it.
Yeah, it's crazy fast. Even 165 is like monstrous, man. It's a scary Pokemon. Everything about me like resists using it because of Incineroar, like period, stop. But it's just terrifying. Like I cannot fault anybody for building a team and having this as a 6th and bringing it in your 4th slot and like imagine you bring this thing in on like a couple beat up Pokemon, like click, done.
I mean, yeah, and it has Astral Barrage, which is a base 120 special, hitting both Pokemon, 100% accurate.
Yeah.
With that speed tier, and it having ghost typing, it's ignoring a lot of fake outs. You could use it as just to put holes in things and still have your other 3 core kind of come in and clean up after. Did it get any new coverage moves?
It does have E-Force. Imagine this thing next to Indeedee. Just.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Helping Hand E-Force. Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's scary, man.
Special. Oh. It has an energy ball for some coverage on bulky water types.
It's also cool because it still has like Spectre. I mean, we still have Bulldoze, we still have Will-O-Wisp, we still have Taunt. I mean, there's no reason you can't lead this thing with like next to whatever, next to your Tyranitar or something with a set like Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, Bulldoze, Astral Barrage. Set your policy and like just absolutely rip a couple holes into things. It's very scary.
I mean, honestly, looking at its speed tier right now, the one thing that I really like is, first of all, Astral Barrage being able to hit, it really helps shut down Trick Room because Dusclops is at least Dusclops variants and the Hat and DD kind of combo. You're gonna make it very impossible to get Trick Room up with that and another mon still in the field. So it's gonna force Porygon back up to the spotlight. Yeah, I think this could be. I think it has to be great, even though I don't like the Ghost Psychic typing as a whole, but I think that speed tier really justifies it because unlike the others, it's not 90 speed, it's 150. It'll put the hole you need it to put.
Yeah, to me, it's speed tier. Like even puts it into top tier. Again, like you can max this thing and just win a game. Like Casper's in chat is talking about how it struggles with Yevtal and Draining Kiss. It does, but with the 145 base special attack and that what's the name of the Max Fairy move?
Starfall.
And Max Starfall, you can handle Yevtal fine. And you're faster than it. So the fact that you can max this thing and win a game, I think like Life Orb in the back coming in as your 4th Pokemon to clean up is a really good way to run this. Like I talked about before, being able to lead it with like bulldoze and set somebody's policy, have will-o-wisp, taunt. To me, this thing brings enough where it has more use and can be more dangerous than any Pokemon we have in Great Tier right now.
I agree. I mean, it can successfully run both support, both just absolutely max candidate type of setup. It can run. I mean, and that's the speed and special attack combo with the HP being 102. It still does allow you to have enough bulk to take a hit or two.
Yeah. Yeah.
This could also be an assault vest option. I mean, so it has just a lot of ways to run
Mhm.
it. So
Yeah.
I'm fine with top.
Yeah, I think that's what settles it for me is the way in which you can run it. It's just not a one-trick pony. Like, this is not Zekrom, right? Like, Zekrom, just as powerful, just as terrifying. But Zekrom is a one-trick pony, man. Like, you're coming in with your max, with your attack and blasting things. Like, this thing can... Like, I mean, just pretend you're my opponent, and I lead this thing and Tyranitar. And you lead your fucking whoever. Like, that is so much to deal with. Like... You know, and like you can even see that coming, like, oh, this is bulldoze, like weakness policy. Like, yeah, but what are you gonna do? Let me Astral Barrage next turn? Like, you have to answer that. It's very scary. Very scary Pokemon for sure. I think definitely deserving of top tier. But again, for me, like, it's not Pokemon I think will be running. The 4 times and Incineroar is enough for me to scare away from it, but it is scary. Okay, up next, I was talking before about how Reshiram is like my top 3 favorite Pokemon here, and now we will talk about my number 1, my favorite box legend, and that is Palkia.
Palkia, huh?
Yep. Water Dragon. So in Pokemon Battle Kingdom, our Facebook group, we always had gyms. We've always done dual typing. Like, we always tried to separate ourselves a little bit from everybody else. So there's always monotype gyms. We always did dual typing. So I think in the beginning of Sun and Moon, we started that, and I picked Water Dragon. I love the Water Dragon typing. I think what separates with Dialga and Palkia away from the rest of the mons is a couple things. Like, its bulk is insane, and the difference from the 90 speed ones and 100, those are 2 very different things. 100 base speed is like that's what you need to be able to run timid and run jolly stuff, and be very safe. Whereas 90, it's a little awkward. So I think having the extra 10 speed to get to 100, the very good bulk, the very good typing. There's nothing I don't like about it. Just real quick, since I have Showdown right here, I'll show the first team that I actually built when they announced these rules. With Palkia being the restricted. Just to take me 10 minutes to find it here. So, I have Incineroar with Darkest Larion over Flare Blitz as the 1 attack, just because I'm expecting Shadow Rider to be the most used mon from this restricted list. Specs Regieleki, Lustrous Orb Palkia, AV Celesteela, Choice Scarf Lando, and P2. So the kind of thinking behind like building this team is the actual first thought with Palkia was a dual Intimidate core. So I definitely started with Lando and Incin. And then I wanted to be able to have pressure. So that's where the pressure and pivot. So that's where Regieleki comes in. Being able to kind of Volt Switch out to Celesteela or Lando and take on those ground moves turn 1. And then the typing that just kind of complements, because Palkia is probably, I'm not going to think off the top of my head, I mean Gastrodon, but Palkia is not weak to electric. It does not take 2 times from electric attacks. Water, outside of your Shifu, like, water is taking a step back. Like, you still have rain trap, perish trap teams, but just in general, the water typing has taken a step back this gen because of Rillaboom and now Regieleki. And Palkia is something that really doesn't care about either of them. Which is super cool. We talked already about telepathy, I'm sorry, and being able to run it next to Lando and not take any damage from Earthquake. It's also cool. I've seen people have ideas with like Discharge and not being able to take that damage. I really have nothing bad to say about Palkia. I love it.
Yeah, I think Palkia it has a great typing. You know, I think Water Dragon and Water Fairy are two of my favorite build typings ever, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a fan of Water and Water Steel because Empoleon was like my favorite Pokemon ever. But yeah, Water Dragon, good typing. The Lustrous Orb, is it still 1.2 or did they change it?
What's that?
Lustrous Orb.
Yeah, 1.2.
Okay, I didn't know if they nerfed it or not. I know they nerfed a lot of stuff. Yeah. So, and like you said, you know, it has the 100 speed. So if you run Timid, you're breaking 300 without even going full speed. I mean, you could probably invest like 170, 180 ish around there, and you're in that 300 speed tier. So that lets you once again add more bulk. Bulk is what, in a meta like this with Series A, I think the ability to get your speed where you need it and add bulk is what's going to really help you, because everything hits hard. That's just how it is. A lot of these things hit hard. We've seen them all. They all have insane special or insane physical. So it's not only having the speed to outclass, but having the bulk to outlive to actually justify it. So in comparison, I think this has a nice argument for top tier.
I agree. And also, like, you don't even have to look at the specific moves, but if you just scroll down on Showdown and you're just like, wow, if the thing gets everything, yeah, it just has a million moves. You know, I love it. Now, as much as it's my favorite Pokemon, and without a shadow of a doubt, will be the first restricted mon I personally use when I get on ladder in Series 8. If I'm going against somebody, is Palkia putting the same like fear as a Kyogre or Yevtel or Shifu with Shadow Rider? Probably not. Probably not. So I mean, I definitely think it has a case to be in top tier. I think, you know, in great tier with Ho-Oh, Eternatus, Zekrom, Ice Rider, you know, it's right where it belongs, even though I personally like it more, but it's not going to kind of demand that same response as as like a Shadow Rider would in Team Preview.
But I think though, while it won't deem the same response, I think that's a benefit to it, because we all know, like, if you see Shadow Rider in Team Preview, you're prepping for Shadow Rider, yeah, but if you see Palkia, you're not really concerned about it. You're looking at the rest of the team. You're looking at what's built around it, what could be possible course. So I think, yeah, I think Great Tier might be okay. I do think the argument for top is there, though, just because I think it'll be slept on quite a bit, because it wasn't heavy use, you know, in years.
Yeah.
So it could be one of those things that just, you know, especially in this format, this meta, that typing, that just comes in and gets to have a surprise on people.
I think, like, it's also, like, I mean, at least speaking to, like, the team you see on screen that I built with it, like, I don't have to Dynamax this. Like, I can very easily, with this team, lead, like, Incineroar, Regieleki, Volt Switch to Celesteela, Max Celesteela, and then, like, have Palkia come in to take that ground move that was coming out in Incineroar. Like, it is bulky enough where you can use the thing as a check and pivot, and kind of bounce around and position the board and get good damage in with, like, moves like, why do I have two dragon moves on? But with moves like Spatial Man, Earth Power. So I really do just love it.
It's definitely up there. I think it's borderline between those two. And I like that team. I'm gonna have you send that to me later.
Yeah, I don't know why I have two dragon moves on. Anyway, so let's go to the next. Up next, let's go right to Kyogre. I mean, I could probably say Kyogre is the most, could be the most damaging mon out of any of these restricted mons. It's like sad to say, but like setting the rain and water spout with like redirection or scarf is like freaking terrifying. Like, you never have to max this thing to put out insane damage output. You could have a Swift Swim user that you can max, or you could have something even like a Metagross or Celesteela that you max that just is getting benefit from the rain, from fire moves. You know, the thing is, like we talked about with Groudon and how Torkoal's better. because Torkoal provides Sun, and they're comparable. Like, Polytoad and Pelipper are not comparable to Kyogre. It's like, you know, we already had the conversation about Torkoal and Groudon. Like, Kyogre, you cannot have a conversation with Polytoad and Pelipper. It is, without any shadow of a doubt, in any way you could possibly explain it, just infinitely better than those Mons. So I think it just brings something completely new, and Eruption with speed, man. Like, I mean, if Torkoal had speed, just think about it. Like, this Kyogre is really absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I think, I mean, and not even just that, but it also does have Origin Pulse as well.
Yeah,
which
of course.
hits both bows. So yeah, you can sit there and Water Spout for a while, and then when you need to, just switch to Origin Pulse and still get great damage output off. It has the Ice Beam to counter the Grass checks. It gets, you know... I'm curious, I really am curious to see how this Pokemon does, because in this meta format, it's definitely different. Because like you mentioned, a lot of times I remember Choice Scarf, Water Spout go off, you know,
Yeah.
just instant burr moment, put as much damage out as you can, and then let everything else on your team, let the three other Mons
Yeah.
have an easier time to win, and that is an option. So I'm curious to see how this thing goes. I think we'll see a lot of Scarf stuff at first, and then I think we'll start seeing like maybe that next to a Swift Swim user who's rocking an Airstream move to now turn around and counter that, so you're not stuck locked in, so you can still Ice Beam and you can still Origin Pulse and run your other coverage as well. So I don't know. I think this could easily be top tier just because it does the weather. It gives you really good control. And it's not, and it's flexible as far as its ability, and it just hits hard, man.
Yeah, for me, it's like instant top tier. On top of everything else we've talked about, like, it's 150 special attack with good coverage. Easily can max this. You could literally like, I mean, you could run this thing Scarf with like a Togekiss and like Water Spout twice, punch holes through a team, and then max it turn 3. You don't need a fucking Life Orb or a different item. Like, it is. To me, out of anything, like, Kyogre is the scariest of all these Mons. Like, if you want to make a hyper-offensive team and you don't know where to start, this is where you start. It is crazy good. And, like, sets his own rain and has Thunder with 150 special attack. Think of all the flyers out there that this thing can absolutely destroy with Thunder. Kyogre is no joke. I expect to see a lot of it. The last time we saw these Mons VGC legal last gen, we saw a lot of it. I expect no difference this gen.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be one of the most instant usage Mons we have here, because it also gets Icy Wind if you're wanting to run Icy Wind for speed control elsewhere on your board. It does get Iron Head, which is at least a little bit of chip damage in the fairy types. You see, what else does it have? I mean, I know this isn't like your viable moveset, but it also does get Hyper Beam for speed control when you do max it after your Scarf. You know, Water Spout max. Now you can use Max Strike, lower the opponent's speed. So it has its own effective way to use a Tailwind.
Hey, look, it's bulky as hell. How about, like, you know, a Calm Mindset? You know, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go with it. And I think the reason for me it's instant top tier is because of, like, out of all these Pokemon not Dynamax, like, nothing can produce the damage that this thing can not Dynamax. And that's not to say it's not great Dynamax, because it is and it will be.
It also gets Bulldoze too.
Got options there. Alright, let's talk about defensive typing. Let's talk about bulk. Let's talk about Dialga.
I love Dialga. I've been a Steel leader for off and on. I'm not one anymore, but I've been doing gym leagues and stuff for a good amount of years, and Steel has always been one of my favorite types to run. And I love it. Telepathy. I remember I ran just a mind-blown telepathy set back in Generation 7 for fun against a bunch of friends, and it tanks. That's like one of my favorite abilities, I think, as far as pure doubles usage and the ability. You can run it next to your Earthquake Landos. It has 100 HP, 150 special attacks. It's still hitting hard as hell. 120 on the physical side for defense, 100 special defense. It does have that 90 base speed as well. So, but its bulk makes up for it and covers it. As far as coverage moves, it does get Blizzard. It does get Aura Spear for some fighting coverage, which in this format is a lot better because there's a lot of things weak to fighting that are out there. It gets Earth Power, it gets Fire, Flamethrower, it gets Flash Cannon as well, which is amazing. And Steel is one of the top types. It gets Ice Beam, Hyper Voice.
I absolutely love Dialga. Like, for me, it was just, when they announced this, for me, it was like, okay, Dialga or Palkia. Like, that's all I was deciding, because it was one of them. Like, Dialga is insane. Absolutely insane. Like, let's talk about typing first, okay? 2 weaknesses in fighting and ground. Fighting outside of your Shifu, there is no good fighting, and fighting is the worst type from the Dynamax Mon, which is why we see none of it outside of, like, your Shifu. Okay, ground is ground, but we have a base 120 defense, base 100 HP. Resist. We resist normal type. We resist water type. We resist electric type. We resist grass type. We resist flying, psychic, bug, rock, steel, and have a poison immunity. This defensive typing is absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. The amount of resistances is, and the 2 weaknesses, like, really aren't even that bad when you have 120 in defense. You know, the ground 90% of the time is from a physical mon. Fighting always is. So your best bulk caters to your only 2 weaknesses that one of them is severely nerfed in this gen because of Max Knuckle. 150 base special attack, like you talked about it, like Max Flash Cannon from this thing hits like an absolute monster and boosts the one stat, the only way you can get hurt with an Earthquake or something. Like, I think this mon is amazing. Me, like I said, it was Dialga or Palkia. That's where I was starting. I think it's really super good. Can't go wrong here.
I think this works really well in a Rillaboom core, just because, one, you're also, again, like Rillaboom, Incineroar, Dialga, like those 3 right there is a solid core to just plug into a team, because the bulk, you're going to weaken Earthquakes. Rillaboom will also be able to just Grassy Glide and remove ground threats. Then you have Incineroar helping cripple physical threats. You can also plug in Lando in there, and now you're safe from Earthquakes, and you're still putting on ground threats as well if you decide not to use your Rillaboom. So I think it just has a lot of flexibility. Its move pool's really good.
What's up, Berkai? Thank you for the raid. Sorry, I have my notifications off because we are recording this for a YouTube video. Yeah, and to top that all off, I think Dialga is also probably, like, just clearing away one of the best Dynamax Pokemon from this restricted list, because Max Earthquake, Max Steel Spike, you already boosted its insane attack. Like, you put +1 on this thing, it's not dying. And it's 150 with its item. So you're talking about a 150 base attack and 2 moves that are doing, 130 for base power for the max moves, and then your stab, and then your item, and it's boosting your already amazing defenses. Yeah, for me, it's up there. For me, Palkia and Dialga are both, like, they really should be top tier. I'll put them both in great, just because, again, like, people aren't going to look at it and be like, oh, I got to change everything I'm doing to get ready for these. But they're going to learn, because these Pokemon are absolutely insane. And they're really about typing, and I think that's what separates them from the Zekroms and the Reshirams of the world. Very good typing. Alright, up next, let's talk about Fused Kyurem. I just realized I don't have Kyurem, I don't have Kyurem Black on here, but let's talk about Kyurem White.
Kyurem White, it's got Turbo Blaze, so it ignores abilities of other Pokemon. Dragon Ice typing, again, it's keeping that. Special attack of 170. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a mon that I would love if we had 2 restricted and I could like just bring in something like this to just come in, choice scarf, and just wreck stuff right away, put on heavy pressure, and kind of try and take control of the board.
Mhm.
But in this, with the context and format and 1 restricted, I just don't think it's definitely like I'd almost put it in good tier for me, just
Mhm.
because it's niche and it's unflexibility.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's an awkward fit. Like, I think if you use this kind of like Zaycom, I mean, you just max the attack. I mean, 170 is no joke, for sure. And like, being Dragon Ice and having like, we have good moves to kind of to hit what we're weak to here. Yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, definitely not my favorite mon, but I think like a 170, like again, 170 base special attack is just something that yeah, it's kind of like when you see Cortana, right? In like team preview, like, oh, where's my fire move? Like, you just have to respect it, because if you don't, I mean, it'll just sick and knock. You can get 4 kills in 5 turns, 3 kills in 4 turns. I mean, it's that terrifying. And I think for that reason, um, it could go into great tier, but however, like, I also don't think it's as good as any of those Pokemon that are in great tier, so I'm gonna leave it in good.
Yeah, I agree. I think just because while it'll do its 1 role extremely well,
Hmm.
it's also 1 role.
Yeah, I'm gonna slide OG Kyurem down now to average, because this obviously is better than OG Kyurem, but in that same role. Let's just finish them out. Fuse Kyurem Black.
Let's see. Basically reversing on the Kirim White here.
Mhm.
Instead of 170 special, you're going 170 in the physical, 125 HP. Speed's gonna stay the same. Your special defense goes up to 100. Your physical defense goes down by 10. So it's almost just a mirror of
Yeah.
Kirim White. So as far as move pool, I don't think it gets really much difference. If
Yeah.
any. I mean, I guess dual wing beat's nice there because you at least get max airstreams on the physical slide, which is really nice in the meta if you wanted to max it. Fusion bolt, icicle spear.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, like I said, it's about the same conversation we just had with Kyurem White. I will say though, like, Intimidate is much easier, much more common than Snarl, so I do think Kyurem White is significantly better than Kyurem Black. I mean, this is a Pokemon that was in, probably should still be in OU, but I mean, that's a conversation for another day. But it's definitely manageable. I do not think it is on the level of a Kyurem White, a Rayquaza, a Solgaleo, or a Groudon, in my opinion. So I'm actually good with this being like an average tier.
I'm good with it.
Oh man, probably the one of. Well, we've already had a couple controversy and disagreements here, but let's talk about Xerneas.
Man, if Xerneas. See, my trouble with Xerneas is, in my experience, with the past couple years of UGC, I remember Xerneas just being a nightmare. Like, you built your team with the knowledge of knowing Xerneas is on 90% of teams, mixed in with Kyogre Groudon sets, and it is just going to get a Geomancy. And if it gets it off, you lose. Like, that was just what it was. It was one of those things where you could not let it set up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the pressure it applies, man. For example, turn 1, it's gonna have to draw in a fake out, but now with something like Indeedee and Follow Me and Terrain, your fake out doesn't matter as much. That's great. You can Follow Me, take pressure to set it up. The speed on it is not horrible. I just don't know. I mean, it's what, 99 base speed, right?
Yeah. And make no mistake, everybody, that it's 99, not 100 for a goddamn reason.
Yeah, that one does make a huge difference.
It does, especially when you're trying to Geomancy.
It's just, so I don't know. For me, like, I could really argue it being in top, but also with the Dynamax format, I don't know if it still holds. The fairy typing is still super good though, but we also do have a lot more steel types. There's a lot more checks to it. So that's why I'm like, it's kind of in between those. Like from past, if it was you asked me a year ago, I would say it's top tier because it is a
Yeah.
threat. But now, I could almost argue it just being great.
Right, so here's where I stand on Xerneas. Now, yeah, if this was a year ago, I would tell you this is the best Pokemon on the screen. If this was 2 days ago, I would tell you it's definitely great tier, could still be top tier. But it suffered. Dynamax has made any nasty plot sword stance, Geomancy turned where you're fully setting up Belly Drum is just harder to do this gen than last gen. It's that straightforward. And without a Geomancy, this Mondex isn't great. So to me, if this was 2 days ago, I would have told you this is good tier for me, which I knew was going to rock a lot of feathers. But then yesterday, we were actually talking on stream about this with Casper, and he was noting that something that I never realized is I must have battled a million of these last gen. And something I never realized is that Xerneas has the same attack and special attack stat. So, the reason I think it was a lot worse this gen is because Geomancy is harder to pull off A, and B, by the time you do, you already took a Snarl or there's light screen up. So, having this option to run a physical set with the Life Orb, with Fairy Aura, and like play rough, like I really think it opens up for the way Xerneas can be used, where it does not need to rely on Geomancy, which means it does not need to rely on the herb. And it really opens up for how it can be used. But I was fully ready to put this in good tier. Until I kind of noticed that, yeah, you can run this thing physical. And like nobody's ever going to know about it either. Like you run this physical on max, like people are setting light screen and snarling you. They're not using Will-O-Wisp. So it's...
It also gets Horn Leech, which is
yeah,
nice.
that's actually
5 power, but it's recovery as well. You get 50%. You throw that next to Rillaboom with Grassy Terrain, you could have a field day.
Yeah, I mean that's I actually had that on the set I was making up, but literally it might have even been yesterday how I was saying that this mon is really not even that great. Because Geomancy's almost out of the question. Even if it's not, Geomancy's not as good because by the time it goes off, you're like I said, there's screens and snarls. But I do think that is still an option. It is still viable to lead like Xerneas, Indeedee, Geomancy, Max, for sure. But to me, that was extremely limited, like very limited. But I do think now, like being able to run it a different way and kind of utilize Dynamax offensively yourself definitely opens up possibilities. So I definitely think it belongs in great tier.
I agree.
All right, Lugia. Lugia.
Go ahead. I'm pulling it up.
So, really, kind of, Lugia's kind of a Pokemon. I'm torn on. Like, I don't love it offensively. Like, there's obviously it has base 90s, which I forgot what Pokemon we were talking about earlier, but like that's enough for me to just looking at the rest of the restricted mons to be like, oh, it's terrible. It's really just not worth it to run. It's just not worth it to have a restricted slot on this. But I do think that the bulk and Tailwind sets, I do give it a place. I do think you can run this thing as a Tailwind set, as a Bulldoze user, kind of like we were talking about earlier with Ghost Rider. Set up something's weakness policy, set up your team with speed control. An absolutely amazing bulk. I think it'd be something like Tailwind, your either Surf or Bulldoze, whatever move to set off a weakness policy, and then maybe like Ice Beam, like a little niche move for the meta, and Protect, and like it won't go anywhere. So I do think it has that position in the meta, which is strong. Like I don't think it's at the level of a Xerneas, Palkia, Dialga, Eternatus, but it's strong.
I agree. I mean, it gets some decent tech though. Like it gets Feather Dance, which basically lowers the opponent's attack by 2. So with a meta that could have a lot. Got you. Yeah, Feather Dance lowers the opponent's attack by 2, so it does have some decent attack. It also has Helping Hand still. Tailwind Bulldoze. So I think it's in good tier, but it could potentially see a jump.
Yeah, and like my thing is again, like I think the only way you make this mon work is as utility. And there's other mons that can do that, but it is better. Like I'm not like the bulk on this thing is crazy, and like you said, Helping Hand. Like I mean, like just say you're using Surf to proc a policy. I mean, even Colossal. I mean, say you're running this next Colossal with Surf, Helping Hand, Tailwinds, and whatever stab move, Arrow Blast or something. Like it's definitely strong in that utility position. But I think any of these restricted Pokemons that you're using for utility just kind of has to be good tier or below.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you're only down to 1, you can't really use utility from it as effectively.
All right, let's talk about Mr. 151 himself, Mr. Mewtwo.
Average tier, maybe lower. I know that's a hot take, but
That is a hot take.
like, okay, he has really good speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the special attack's really good. It's 154, but the psychic type is not as, to me in this meta right now with the functionality, the psychic type. Both his bulk's only 90, the HP stat's only 106. He's not living a lot. He's not something I would want to max. He does get E-Force, which was like a nice little, extra niche for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think I would use it. Like, out of everything here, he would probably be like the 14th mon I chose.
I'm gonna agree, and I think like clearly you talked about the bulk being low. Like if you're using this, it's offensive, and if you're talking about offensive restricted mons, and Mewtwo comes first to your mind, like you're doing something wrong. However, the reason I think it's probably tiered a little bit higher than you're saying is the move pool. I think you can have, again, kind of going back to your Series 17 that you really loved. Mewtwo is a mon that you could plug in and like, oh, I wish I had Grass, Rock, Electric flying coverage. Like, done. Oh, I wish I had Fire, Ice, Psychic, Ghost coverage. Done. Like, its move pool is so good. Still with a 150 special attack and a 130 speed, where it could really plug in some nice coverage for your team. Like, this is a Pokemon, I think, like, if you have a team with, like, maybe, like, an Incineroar or Grimmsnarl and P2 and, like, sell it, like, a bulky kind of pivot team where you could really dance with 3 mons for, like, a long time. And a lot of teams do display this, and Players' Cup showed that, and kind of bringing that forth to all of a sudden get the offense on. Like, Mewtwo is like kind of great in that spot because, I mean, its coverage really is insane. But all in all, yeah, if you look at all these other restricted mons, and you're talking about a pure offensive Pokemon, it's not on the like it's not nowhere near on the level of like a Kyurem White or a Eternatus, Zekrom. It's just not there. I mean, for me, it goes into average tier, but I think there's a way where you can utilize Mewtwo where it's definitely the best mon we have in average tier.
Alright, you agreed with me on the tier. I'm surprised.
I think it's... The only reason is, like, how am I going to run this over Dustman, over Solgaleo, over Kyurem White, over Rayquaza, like Xerneas? It's not those Pokemon, but on the right team, specifically my kind of teams, the kind of teams I play with, I think you could really make Mewtwo shine. And it's really a cure-all, man. Like, you can build whatever core you want, and like, I don't have this coverage. Like, Mewtwo's got it. I don't even know what it is, but Mewtwo has it. All right, Yevtel.
So first of all, Dark Aura, I love.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very nice extra boost move. And if you're looking at this, the first thing to do is compare it to Moltres, right? Galarian Moltres. Why would I want to run this when I could run that?
Thank you for the follow, Yowie. And what's up, guys, on Facebook? I see you, but I'm on Twitch, and we are recording a video.
But, yeah, so I'd have to compare it to Galarian Moltres. And I think I would almost argue Galarian Moltres over this thing. I mean, Oblivion Wing's nice. You get the recovered damage. It gets... a decent couple of things. It has dual wing beat if you decide to run a physical set, because it does have the same physical and special attack. So that I do like. It is able to run multiple different variants with it. If the rest of your team is more specially offensive, you can run this physically, so you have coverage and can actually hit things a little bit more. It does get lash out. It does get knockoff. Gets shadow ball, steel wing for steel type. It does get access to taunt, tailwind. It does get sucker punch if you run a physical variant. So it has a really nice move pool, but I think it's kind of like with the mold place issue for me. I don't know if I would want to run this.
Okay, so for me, Yveltal's the best or the second best Pokemon on the screen. So you can run it like Moltres and pure offensive and go ham. I think it starts with the flexibility. Who else were we talking about with flexibility? There's another Pokemon. Was it Hoa? Was it?
Yeah, it was Hoa.
Okay, so I think flexibility gets you a long way when you're a restricted mon because of team preview. Because you see it and like, oh, I gotta get ready and do this. All right. Tailwind Taunt, Snarl, Sucker Punch, Oblivion Wing, Roost. There's so many ways you can go about running Yveltal, and Dark Aura, Urshifu already essentially dominating VGC to an extent. I envision Tailwind, Taunt, Snarl, Sucker Punch. You shut down the Ghost Riders. You set up speed control. You attack with a big stab move while gaining recovery. And whoever mon you led with, you kind of punch some holes in, whoever it may be. Whether it's a Regieleki Volt switching or a Dynamax mon. And I think Yveltal has the bulk to do what it needs to do to be on the field, where you kind of get your Shifu in for that one attack, that one Wicked Blow that is getting an extra 33%. That I think like seals Yveltal into top. Like I'd say without your Shifu, like it's in great with look at top, but it's in great tier. But because of how good your Shifu is, and this thing making it so much better, because again you set Tailwind, all of a sudden your Shifu is probably the fastest mon on the field, and you come in with this Wicked Blow with the boost, like. To me, it's one of the scariest, like, most immediate, and I think the fact that it jumps out at you, like, you're gonna see a lot of that. That's scary. I mean, what is like a banded Wicked Blow with a 33% boost not outgoing? Like Dynamax Metagross is gone. Like it is terrifying. It's a little awkward for me to say like, oh, it's great tier, but because of your Shifu, it's top. But I think it's that dangerous and that good, and Yveltal has that much flexibility where it's up there. This thing could. Shut down a Dusclops lead with Trick Room, set your speed control. It can do a lot of things.
All right. I can, yeah, okay. I'm fine with top.
I mean, wait, you would say great, or were you trying to talk lower?
No, definitely not lower than great.
Okay.
If it's, like, that's what I mean. Like, for me, it definitely has a niche. Like, we talked in the chat, like, 2 days ago when we saw the rules, Yeah, Wicked Blow next to it. It's still having some of the issues, but I think it's one of those mons where for me it could be great or top. I'm like leaning about 60-40 towards great.
Okay. Yeah, I mean I think that's fair. Like, I don't think that's not fair. The fact that you can do 252 Modest Life Orb, come out with a screen setter or whoever and just max airstream. The fact that you can have like a Tailwind Taunt and shut down Trick Room, shut down Prankster users. The fact that you can boost Dark types. There's a lot going on with Yveltal for me where I have to have it in top tier, I think. And last but not least, good old Mr. I'm too good for Uber tierization. This thing actually got voted out of Ubers. What the hell?
I mean,
like actually did that? Like what? Crazy.
That was insane. I remember reading that. But 170 attack, 148 speed. I mean, its ability for raising attack one stage. You throw in a rusted sword to get it to your crown form. It can hit though. That's the thing. Like it hits so hard,
Mhm.
so nasty. Uh, you have the Steel Dynamax Destroyer and Behemoth Blade. I think, and this Fairy Steel typing is honestly super good.
Super
Like,
good, yeah.
as Fairy, what are your main weakness, right? Like, okay, a lot of people are gonna try and go toxic with sludge bombs and
Mhm.
whatnot, especially in the current meta. Guess what? Take Steel. You're immune to it now. You're also
Yeah.
Steel, so now you're getting a little resist from the Steel side of things for the Fairy weakness.
Yeah.
So typing is insane. The spread, man. I mean, it'll do its job, and it's not something you're gonna max, because you can't. But
Mhm.
it comes in, it'll put holes in stuff, and that's kind of what its job is gonna be. But it's gonna do it effectively.
Yeah. I mean, I like it a lot. I will say, kind of again, just going back to the team I built, because the two practice battles I did do on stream, obviously there's both Zacians against me. So I will say, you're using an item. I mean, let me not even go there. Intimidate exists, and anything that's not maxing is prone to intimidate. To me, is a little troublesome. I also think the fact that it like can't max, like, so VGC hasn't had this yet, right? Like, we haven't had Pokemon that can't max. So in the back of your mind, as much as you know what's going on, like as much as like P2 and T-Tar are out there and you know what's going on, and fucking P2 gets +1 and Max hailstorms your ass or something, like, there is, VGC always has that element of surprise. I think the fact that you can't max it, I think the fact that you're prone to intimidate, definitely lowers this to me into great tier. I mean, you would think it's just automatic top, and anybody saying you're crazy, it should be top tier. Like, I'm not gonna argue too much on it. It's a Zacian, but for me, it goes into great tier for those reasons. But it still has that amazing coverage. You know, the wild card, crunch, play rough, behemoth blade, like close combat. I mean, just amazing coverage. Great ability, great item. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. For sure.
I agree with Great. I mean, that's the thing too, though. This is VGC. It's not single, so the intimidating it's a little bit more important, because if you're bringing 4 mons, you don't have as free flexibility for pivoting, especially something like this. And also, because it can't max, guess what? Fake out is still usable, and I don't have to click it and be worried like, oh, you're gonna max, my fake out's wasted. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna fake out, double tap it, because odds are 90% of people are gonna just run this max speed, max attacks, and just try and put holes and stuff. So I'll fake out, double tap, and get rid of it.
Right. Yeah, it's I expect to see a ton. Like, I think, like, off the bat, like, so many people, it's such an easy plugin, right? Like, kind of like how I talked about with how I feel about Ho-Oh and Mewtwo. Like, I think Zacian's one of the easiest plugins to your already team you were using last season. Like, it's cleanup mon. Like, if you have if you have your Shifu or Rillaboom, you can put this in that slot. Just kind of coming in late game to clean up, like, 100%. So I expect to see a lot of it for sure. Another reason I think a dual Intimidate core is a nice way to start off Series 8. Again, somebody wants to put it in top tier, I'm not going to fight you too hard on it. With those base stats and coverage and ability, item, changing its type, like giving it Fairy Steel, it's I'm not going to argue too much on it, but I do think it belongs in great tier right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Alright, so that's the final list. I don't think did I leave anybody out? I don't think I left anybody out, but I've been wrong before. So who knows? Thanks for hopping on, Chris. I appreciate making this video. Guys, it will be posted to our YouTubes and all that. As far as the live stream goes, I'm going to end it here, and I'm gonna do a little raid on Jim Furai's channel. Thanks for joining, Chris. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for